As some of you may have already noticed, the YouTube channel just surpassed 100,000 subscribers. Honestly, when I first started making these videos, I never even expected to get this far. Even when I started to do this seriously, I wanted to get like 25,000 subscribers and then 50,000 subscribers, and now we're at 100,000 people that decided to, voluntarily click a button that says, hey, I actually like this stuff. That is insane. So first off, thank you so much for being here. I would say thank you 100,000 times, but I think that's gonna take a little bit too long. It's gonna be like a 5-hour long video. But sincerely, thank you, this is awesome. I mean, in the end, I'm just a nerd that sits in his room playing video games, right? And it turns out there's a lot of people that watch the stuff that I make. It is really weird to imagine that 100,000 people actually decided to subscribe to the content, and it's absolutely insane. And I know what you're thinking, I've seen those comments as well. It's like, oh my god, I don't understand why Loco doesn't have 4 million subscribers like, YouTuber X. And while it's obviously true that I don't have 4 million subscribers, I am extremely happy with the fact that we just reached 100,000 subscribers. Have I already mentioned that we reached 100,000 subscribers? Anyways, over the last couple of days, I've been thinking about the video that I want to create as soon as we hit 100,000 subscribers. A lot of you have suggested like a draw my life type video, or some sort of YouTuber tag type thing, but honestly, I don't know, my life isn't that interesting. Instead, what I figured I should talk about is how this whole YouTube thing just started up, and how I decided to start making content, and what the plans for the future are. Because honestly, I am not done making YouTube videos yet. I absolutely love doing this, and the fact that I can now consider this my job is just kind of weird in a way, but hey. So I started this YouTube channel all the way back in 2008. That is, how many years? That's 7 years ago. I was 16 years old when I started this YouTube channel. Actually, considering I think I started the channel in March or so I should have been either 15 or 16 years old. It's pretty insane. And back then I was playing a lot of RuneScape. And yeah, I know that most of you will have played RuneScape at some point, but I didn't just play RuneScape, I played RuneScape a lot. Basically, obviously I was in secondary school, right? So basically my day would start with RuneScape. I would actually go home during lunch break and play RuneScape, and the rest of the day when I was not at school, you guessed it, I would play RuneScape. So just to paint a picture of what I looked like at the time, I was basically just as tall as I am right now. I'm 183 centimeter or, just under 6'1", and I was about 45 pounds / 20 kilos lighter than I am right now. So I was an extremely tall, skinny nerd that would have actually a Justin Bieber type haircut as well. So I would have my hair, for some reason that was popular in the Netherlands at the time, so I would have my hair basically poking in my eyeballs, which would cause me to have like blood red eyes all the time. And it would actually gel it as well, so it would look like it's really hard and like crusty and terrible. And on top of that, I had the worst acne in the world. So basically my entire face was covered in like red gooey stuff. Now on top of that, obviously I was playing a lot of RuneScape, and that means that, I wasn't sleeping as much as I should have. So I always had these like, these permanent blue bags underneath my eyes. And obviously, since I was a nerd, I would be hanging around at school with other nerds as well who also played RuneScape a ton, and we basically just talked about RuneScape all the time. And that is the era. No, that sounds very dramatic. That was the time where I actually started the YouTube channel in. All the way back in 2008, I got my very first level 99, which was the maximum level in RuneScape at the time. I believe it's 120 right now. 99 fire making, and I really wanted to make a video of that. Obviously put some heavy rock music underneath it because that's what I would listen to. Obviously we would have some like Bullet for My Valentine and some Linkin Park and some Disturbed and like the heavy guitar stuff underneath the 99 fire making when I was, putting the logs together, and eventually we would get that max level. And I made a video about that. I shared it on the interwebs with my friends, and it had like, I think like 300 views. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. People like this video. So what I ended up doing is basically get every single skill in RuneScape to level 99. I covered some videos as well of friends that got their maxed out levels, and eventually I did some RuneScape music videos, and we did some, collaborations with other YouTubers. And you gotta keep in mind, this was all without a microphone or a webcam or anything like that. It was just like heavy rock music, with RuneScape gameplay. Now eventually I got a little tired of RuneScape after about 8 years or so. Believe it or not, if you max out your total, it does get a little tiring, and also if you have all the gold in the world to spend on anything, it does become a little bit random. And I actually still have a blue party hat on my account, but that's a story for a different time. Anyways, I decided to move on to bigger and better things. Most importantly, well, the obvious step from RuneScape to World of Warcraft. And on top of that, I actually played a lot of poker as well. I started really getting into World of Warcraft, started hardcore raiding on a guild called Epiphany on the Twilight Hammer server on Europe. And it was one of the very best guilds in Europe at the time. I mean, you know, we were clearing the heroic content and it was an awesome time. I was actually one of the very best hunters on the server that I played on, and I was having a blast in that game. Now on the side, I also actually decided to, you know, start playing a lot of poker. Now I mention it, I don't think I was actually, you know, legal yet to play poker, but that's a completely different story once again. I played a lot of poker, earned quite a little bit of money with that, and it was a really great time to just, you know, basically be grinding materials in game on one screen and then play poker on the other one. And at that time I didn't really make that many YouTube videos anymore until one magical moment. I got invited into the StarCraft 2 beta. I had never played RTS games really before. I mean, obviously I had touched Red Alert, I had touched Command and Conquer, I had touched, you know, Age of Empires, Age of Mythology, and all these kind of games, but never ever did I realize that people made a living playing video games. I started hearing about players like Idra, I started hearing about players like Grubby, about the Korean scene, and that players actually earned tons and tons of money, and I literally mean tons of dollars, every single year, in order to play video games. And that is where I decided to give it a try as well. Basically how I usually go around doing stuff is if I really like it, I will go all out on that one thing. And at the time I was going all out at StarCraft 2. I quit playing poker, I quit playing World of Warcraft for the most part, although I do resub every now and then still today. So I decided to focus on this thing instead that I saw a lot of other nerds do as well, and that is make content. I was watching a lot of live streamers, and at the time most notably I was watching a ton of Idra. Not the greatest of mindset, but I mean I got into the dubstep music, so we got that going for us. Then I found out after a little while that playing like 10 plus hours every single day of the same game is not that great of a time, and since I had also moved on to university at that point, I'd obviously finished secondary school at some point as well, I moved on to university and I didn't really have the time to do so because I had to commute between uni and home obviously, and you know, there just wasn't as much time to do stuff anymore. I eventually obviously got a proper microphone, I got a webcam, I had a terrible haircut that I actually fixed off eventually as well. Obviously making the YouTube videos, I eventually started those back up as well. Don't look back though, because those were absolutely terrible, especially when I started. But after a little while, I did decide to quit university. The course that I was doing at the time just simply wasn't that great for me. I just didn't have a good time, and obviously that meant I had a lot of spare time. At that point, I did basically two things. I didn't have my studies anymore, so obviously started playing a lot more StarCraft. I started making more content, but I also started my own web design business. You see, up to that point, obviously I was making YouTube videos for a couple of years. However, I never really made any money off of it. I just simply wanted to make cool content that I could share with my friends, and then eventually maybe someone would post it to a forum. I mean, Reddit didn't even exist back then, I don't think, or at least I didn't know of it. But then one magical day, right after I quit my studies, I got invited to the YouTube partnership program. And yeah, back then you actually had to get invited in order to display ads on your videos. So for anyone who doesn't know how YouTube works, basically you see ads when you click these videos. At least I hope you do, because that basically is how I earn my money. But nowadays you can just sort of get those ads right when you upload your very first video. However, back then you would have to get invited, and the very first month, I still remember it fondly, I made a whopping $23. Pretty sick, right? Right around that time though, I did also start my own web design business, knowing that, you know, I was gonna have to earn money one way or another. So I never really started YouTube with the intention of actually making an income out of it. However, not that long later, I did decide to pick up another course once again, knowing that I still did want to have a master's or a bachelor's degree at the very least. So basically, to give you an idea of how my day would go back then, it's actually pretty similar right now. I would first off go to university in the morning, then I would go ahead and make the videos, and then eventually I would start live streaming as well. And I actually streamed back then on Own3D. Some of you may remember that company. Own3D was a pretty terrible company. It didn't have the greatest live streaming service at all, and eventually, you know, it did go bankrupt, and I was actually one of the few people that did get like paid from it, even though they weren't paying all of their big partners. But anyways, eventually I did move over to Twitch, and that is where we obviously are still streaming today. And then over the course of a couple of months, I started realizing that the entire thing that I was doing with web design and the thing that I was doing with gaming was actually something that I could sort of combine on YouTube. You see, basically web design is not just designing websites, it's also making sure that people are finding the websites, right? And I was focusing a lot on search engine marketing myself. So basically what that is all about as far as web design go is to make sure that your website is optimized for Google and that Google will eventually index the pages and eventually will bring them to the very top if your results are actually relevant enough. I didn't really realize it up to that point, but YouTube is using that exact same system. And I figured that I should really use this content that I could make on the web design end and see if I can apply the exact same principles on YouTube as well. And that is really where you saw me change the titling of my videos. You saw me, make very deliberate descriptions in the videos as well. I would start using tags a lot more. I would start using playlists and all these kind of things. And eventually I realized that, hey, if I produce better content as well, because, that hadn't really appeared to me at that point, if I make better content as well, people will eventually share it, and, that way I will also be able to get more viewers. And slowly but surely, I just started optimizing the content a lot more, and the amount of viewers grow ridiculously fast. And I say ridiculously fast, to me personally, that is ridiculously fast. We're currently getting just over 2 million views a month, which is kind of insane. And obviously, compared to some other big YouTubers, that is like, something they get in like a half day. However, for me, that is an insane amount of people that view the videos, and at the very least it shows that the things that I've been making are interesting enough for people to watch, to at the very least find and eventually also subscribe. And that is basically where we are at today. At the moment I am still finishing up my studies. I've been saying that I've been finishing up my studies for the last 2 years or so. I'm still finishing up my studies. And I'm actually not really doing any kind of web design anymore. I do a couple of projects here and there, but really my main focus right now is making the YouTube videos and making content for you guys. As you may have already noticed, I also started traveling a lot more, and as far as the future of this channel goes, I plan on making a lot more content that I personally enjoy making as well. So as you may have noticed, last week I obviously went to BlizzCon, or it may have been 2 weeks ago, I'm not 100% sure. I'm still kind of, the jet lag kind of messes with your mind a little. But anyways, as you may have noticed then, I made a daily vlog, and that was absolutely awesome. I actually really enjoyed that, and I noticed that the views on those videos are actually very solid as well, so I'm assuming here that most of you enjoy those videos as well. And I just want to incorporate more real life stuff into the videos. Obviously, I'm still gonna be making gaming content, because that is what I enjoy personally the most as well, and where I spend most of my day. However, I really want to make this YouTube channel, even more so in the future, a place where people can come together and actually play games eventually, and maybe even learn something in the videos as well, and a place where positivity is key. And for me personally, that means that I'm gonna always be uploading only what I actually enjoy playing. I know there's YouTubers out there that will, obviously be very big in League of Legends, so they can't really upload anything but League of Legends. And I saw that as well when I first started uploading other games than StarCraft 2, obviously. I think I started off uploading some Hearthstone and people got ridiculously upset at me. But I will always keep on doing what I find most enjoyable, and for the moment that is providing content for you guys, and I sincerely hope that you do enjoy watching them. I put a lot of effort into it, I put a lot of time into it, and once again, thank you very much for watching all of the stuff that I make. Anyway, I think this video went on for long enough. I hope this camera actually focused properly. I'm not 100% certain, I didn't double check. Did it focus? I hope everything was in focus. Either way, I want to thank y'all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, okay? Looking at you, don't forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next one.